So to recap on the lower body, you gotta learn how to get this right side to rotate past the left side. And the way to do that is just learning how to get off your right foot and stop keeping the foot back here. That means this right side is still behind the left. It needs to rotate. So we're gonna rotate. And so we talked about pushing. We talked about, first of all, let's even just get our left foot open and get 90% of my weight on my left heel right now. That means my hips are almost open 30 degrees already to the target. But my upper body is not tumbled forward. So on this here, basically all I've done, I'm gonna have you pay attention when I record this. Basically what I've done is I've got my left foot slightly open. So here, that's square, that's 45 degrees. So I'm gonna take, my hips are still parallel to the target line. I'm gonna slide my hip, all my weight on my outside of my left foot, and then I'm gonna turn a little bit, and now my weight's on the outside of the left heel. I've done nothing to tumble forward. I simply shifted my weight laterally to my left foot, and then I turn, and now my weight is on the outside of my left heel. Now, what I notice in what you're doing is your leg is still back here. Your right leg is still back here, and if I'm turning, that means my right thigh should slide perfectly. Watch me drag my right foot. My right thigh should slide even with my left when it's facing the target, and then when I turn more, my right leg thigh is further in front. So I will be focusing on this and just watch my toe drag. Because if I leave my foot back here, well, that's going to cause me to tumble forward. But if I let my foot slide like I was actually taking a step forward, watch me take a step forward. I'm going to walk towards this way. My thigh has to go somewhere. But since we're not moving, we're just rotating, I'm going to rotate my thigh, my right thigh, past my left. How do I know it's past my left? Because I have a shaft on my hips, and I can see that the handle, the right side is past my hips. That's what we do in the lower body. To educate the hands, we got to learn how to cock and uncock, cock and uncock, cock and uncock. We got to learn how to turn and roll, turn and roll. So we do that in one motion. We can cock and uncock. And so all I'm doing is it's a wrist and a forearm motion. Nothing's moving. I'm just going to uncock and roll, uncock and roll, uncock and roll. Now, when I do it with the lower body, so what I've done is I'm going to turn 45 degrees and bow. I'm going to plant my arm straight down. It's basically above my thigh, and I'm going to uncock and roll at the same time that I turn my left hip. So I want you to watch this because this is the details. I'm going to do it without the hip. I'm going to uncock and roll. So my hand is going from here to here, which is about 8 inches. My hand's not going very far, about 8 inches, cocking and uncocking. Now, since I'm here, I'm going to take my hips, same thing. I'm just uncocking and rolling, uncocking and rolling. This is what it looks like. Notice my left shoulder's not moving anywhere. My left shoulder's not moving anywhere. Now, if I do it right hand, I'm going to choke down the club. I'm going to bend my right wrist. I'm going to turn 45 degrees and bow. Now you'll see that my elbow's still right over my thigh, and I'm gonna take this bent wrist and my forearm. So I'm going from a turn motion, which opens the glove face and points my hand to the sky, and I'm gonna go to a roll motion, which points my hand back to the target. And again, I'm not building a swing. This is not a golf swing. It's not a shoulder turn. I'm simply taking my hand, pay attention, please. I'm simply taking my right wrist and bending it and turning 45 degrees. So here I'm facing the camera, facing the camera. I'm facing the camera with my right hand. I'm facing the camera. My hand's not over here, it's in the middle of my crotch like it normally is. I'm bending my right wrist. So I'm not really sure why you're up here when I'm in my golf posture with my hand right here in the middle. And I'm going to turn 45 degrees. No, not turning my body. So let's put the club shaft across my chest. Now, can we turn this club shaft 45 degrees? Okay, so let's start over because Michael, I'm not asking you to move your head 45 degrees. I'm not asking you to tilt anything. I'm simply asking you to take your shoulders and turn 45 degrees. Perfect. Now, here's my hand. Now, from there, I'm going to take, and I'm going to turn my wrist, and I'm going to roll back. That's it. So now, this is what it looks like to make sure when you're rewatching this, that all I'm doing is I'm turning 45 degrees and bowing, and now I'm in my golf posture, but 45 degrees. So here's my typical golf posture right here. This is normal golf posture. So if I did 45 degrees and bowed, it would look like this. So now I'm gonna go ahead and so basically I'm just taking 45 degrees and bow. I'm taking this wrist, which is turned up, and I'm gonna roll it back. That's the elbow and the wrist. Now I'm gonna take my right. So just to be clear, I'm basically taking from here. So you can see here that I'm rolling, I'm turning my forearm, so I'm turning, and then I'm rolling back to square. But now look at your wrist. You got it flat, I keep it bent. There you go. Good job. So that's what I would work on this week is you gotta educate your hands. And you can get stronger and stronger, stronger, stronger. So you can see here that I'm not only cocking, but I'm turning, and I'm basically uncocking and rolling. I'm uncocking and rolling back to square. And from this view here, you can see that this is pointing to the camera. It's uncocked, it's slightly arched, and I'm basically just going 45 degrees and bowing. And all I'm doing, this is just arm for this one. You can see that the arm is uncocking and rolling, uncocking and rolling. And then I added my and then if I did both hands, I would come in here, turn 45 degrees and bow. My left arm, left hand is right on my thigh, and we'll uncock and roll. So I'm learning how, it's still a wrist motion. All wrist and hands, then I use my lower body. So it's still hands and wrists, hands and wrists, but I'm learning how to take my lower body at the same time. Cool?